Now we are going to read illustration number 2. This illustration is based on material cost variance. Fine. So let's see. Standard cost of a certain chemical mixture is 40% material A of rupees 200 per ton. That is, material A has been 14%. Of what they are not saying. Of what this 40% is. Of what the 60% is. They are not saying what it is, but we have to find it. Okay. So 40% material A will be used at rupees 200 per ton. That per ton rupees 200 will be the cost, and per ton rupees 300 will be the cost for material B. Okay, so we'll be using 60% of whatever that amount is of material B. Fine. Now let's read the question further. Here, standard loss of 10% is expected in production. So they have also told exactly that 10% standard loss is going to be there. During a period they used 90 days. So this is, now we are going to explain, we are going to read about the actual ones. During the period they used means they actually used. Fine. So actual data has been given. 90 tons of material A at the cost of rupees 180 per ton. That is, per ton 180 rupees. Material A used was 90 tons and material B was used was 110 tons at the cost of rupees 340 per ton. Fine. Weight produced is 182 tons of good production. So actual production was what? 182. Actual production was 182 after considering this 10%. 182 was the actual production after considering the 10%. Fine. So in this question they have asked us to calculate present material price, usage and mix variances. Okay. But in the answer they have already answered all those 5 variances. Okay. So let's find every one of them. Okay, fine. So let's do this question. So first thing we are going to do is that standard input for actual production is what we are going to find. What is, like we already know actual production is what? 182 is the actual production. So they might have already considered that loss. Fine. So we all know input minus loss is output, right? We have already in the standard, how did we actually estimated it? We told that this much will be the input we are going to use. But there is also estimated loss of 10%. So after that, after considering loss only, we'll get the output, right? So this is just basic thing. I'm not just going to explain about this point here. You just want to know this point. You might be knowing it because it's just a basic point. Oh, fine. So let's say that our input was 100%. Our loss was 10%, which is already given in our study mat. That is the question. Fine. So I'm just considering the output, that is after considering the loss, the output I'll be getting will be 90%, right? Even though the input I have put was 100, after considering the loss, I think my output will be 90%. Fine. Now actual output they have already given us, it is 182 tons. So we are assuming that this 182 tons is something we got, is the actual prediction after considering the loss. So let's say this 180 ton is equal to 90%. I want to know what is the standard input is. Okay, so this is a standard information regarding loss. So it is already given in the standard data that the estimated loss will be 10%. That is expected loss. 10% is the expected loss. So this 10% is actually a standard information. So now I want to find what is the standard input for actual production. That is 182 tons will be something. I am assuming that this 182 tons is something which we get after considering the loss. Okay, that is what I've been put inside the box. Fine. So let's say this 182 tons is equal to 90%. I want to know what is the amount which is equal to 100%. So that is even before considering the loss, I want to know what is the amount which is equal to 100%. So what do I do? 182 divided by 90, since this 182 is equal to 90%. Okay, into 100, I want to know the amount which is equal to 100%. So into 100, so I got 202.2. Fine. So this is fine. This is the standard input. Let's say that is standard input because the loss which we have taken in consider is a standard information. Standard loss of 10% is expected in production. So we are going to tell this 202.2 is standard input. How did we find it? We find it with the help of actual output and also with this basic point. Fine. Now let's do the calculation further. It is said that material A 40% will be used. Material A 40% will be used. So let's calculate 202.2 into 40%. So 80.88. So material A, let's say material A will be 80.88. Quantity it is? Yes, it is a quantity. But there will be no quantity as 0.88. Okay, it's just like calculation. Doesn't matter, I guess so. So material B, how much will it be? 202.2 into 60%, right? 121.32. So total will get how much? 202.2. Okay, fine. And it is already given that standard rate will be 200 per ton. So here rupees 200, here rupees 300. Okay, rupees 300. So this is quantity, this will be the amount, and this one is regarding what? This is actual, sorry, this is standard data. This is a standard data. Now we are going to write about the actual data, actual one. Fine. Material A, actual, they have given us, it is 90 tons, right? 90 tons. They have told us that 90 tons of material A is being used. Quantity 90 tons and 110 tons of material B. 110 tons, fine. And per ton cost is rupees 180, and here it is 340. Okay. So here we got actual data, we got input, total input we got 200, but it is said that it is 182 tons. It is said that weight produced is 182 tons. So why is that? Because 200 was the input. 200 was the input. I want to know the actual loss really happened was 18. So 18 is the actual loss happened. But in the standard, how did we calculate it? In standard, we said that 182 is 90. So loss will be equal to 20. So in standard we say that 20 will be the loss, but actual loss was 18. Okay, so input we have given was 200, but we could only produce 182 tons. So that is what they have given us, only 182 tons was produced, but we have input, we have given 200, incurred 18 as loss, and finally we got 182 as output. So this is the actual information. But in standard information, what did we told? We told that we have given an input of 202.2, and we got an actual, we've got a loss of 20, and we have only occurred 180. So that is, it is already given. Since we have found the standard, so like in the beginning of the video, I have told that the difference between budgeted and standard, right? So why it is called standard? Because we found the standard input with the help of actual output, right? And in the so when I explained about the standard quantity, I have also said that it is based on budgeted that we are finding, that is for actual production. For actual production, on the basis of budgeted information, we are finding standard quantity. So in this question, we are just assuming that this 40%, 60% material, these informations are actually budgeted ones. Okay, this cost is of standard cost only, but this information 40%, 60% is budgeted, and we have found standard quantity with the help of actual production. Okay, with the given information they have given, so we can call this as standard. Fine. So we have got this much information. Now it is easy for us, right? I have already explained about those equations which we have to keep in our mind, information with us. So the first thing we have to find is material cost variance. So let's find what is material cost variance. So standard cost minus actual cost is what we are saying as material cost variance. So let's see how it is done. Material cost variance. Material cost variance means what? Standard cost minus actual cost, right? So what is standard cost? That is the first question. What is standard cost? These are cost per ton. We have to find total cost. So 80.88 into 200, 121.32 into 300. When we do 18.88 into 200, we'll get 16176 as answer, and 121.32 into 300 will get 36400 as answer. That is 36,400 will get as answer. Fine. So add these two together. That is 16,176 plus 36,400. Okay. So we'll get 52,576. Okay. So this is the total. Actually, we'll get 52,575. Once you take a look at here, 80.88 into 200 will get 16,176, fine. But 121.33 into 300 will get 36,399. It's just that they are rounding. I think it's fine, I'm not sure. But once we add these two together, we'll get how much? 52,575 actually. Okay, this is a mistake. So 500, let's take this amount, 52,575. Okay, let's take this amount. So this is the standard cost. 52,575 is the standard cost. 52,575 minus actual cost. Actual cost is simple, right? We are going to do what? 90 into 180. We'll get 90 into 180. We'll get 62,200 plus 110 into 340. We'll get 37,400. Total we'll get 53,600. So 53,600. So what will be our answer? 52,575 minus 53,600 will get 1,025. Is this adverse? Yes. That is standard cost. We told that we will only be taking 52,575. But what actually incurred was 53,600. Extra 1,025 was incurred, and that is an adverse situation. So we are going to write A. Fine. So next thing we are going to find is what? Material price variance. So let's find material price variance next. The material price variance means standard rate minus actual rate into actual quantity. Please remember those two important points which I have explained. Okay, so standard rate minus actual rate into actual quantity is what will is price variance. So C, standard rate. So how we are going to do is that we are going to do one for material A and another for material B, like each and each. We'll be doing calculation for each material. Fine. So let's see how it is done. So it is said that standard rate minus actual rate into actual quantity. So material A, 200 minus 180 inside the bracket, and we are going to multiply it with what? 90, which is actual quantity. For material B, like this only, 300 minus 340 into 110, which is actual quantity. So let's see what are the answers are. So 200 minus 180 will get 20. 20 into 90 will get 1,800, which is a favorable situation. Right? It is favorable. And here we'll get what? 300 minus 40 is equal to negative 40. Right? Into 110. We'll get 4,400 adverse situation. Right? So net effect is what? Net effect means what? Here we have got 4,400 as negative, and we have got 1,800, which is plus 800. So net effect will be 2,600 adverse. Okay. So what did I do here? That is, this is for material A and this is for material B. Standard rate minus actual rate into actual quantity. I did it for each material A and B, and net effect is what? 2,600 A. So we can directly write the answer. We have already found it. 1,800 favorable and 4,400 adverse for each material, that is A and B. But net effect, what we got? Net effect means 2,600 A, and that is what we'll be writing here, 2,600 adverse. So material price variance is also over. So our next variance. What is our next variance? Next we are going to find material usage variance. Material usage variance. Let's write it down. Now we are going to find material usage variance. So we know standard quantity minus actual quantity into standard rate is the formula. So standard quantity is 80.88 for material A, 121.32 for material B, and actual quantity for material A is 90 and 110 for material B. So we are going to do what? 80.88 minus 90 into 200, which is the standard rate. 121.32 minus 110 into 300, which is the standard rate, right? So first we are going to do for each material, and then after we will find the net effect, and that will be the one we are going to write here. Fine. So let's see. So here we'll get 1824 as adverse, and once we do this one, 121.32 minus 110 into 300, we'll get 3396 as favorable. Okay. So let's see the net effect. Net effect will be minus 1824, 1572 favorable. So net effect will be 1572 favorable. 1572 favorable. Now let's do material mix variance. Okay, RSQ minus AQ into S. So for that we have to first find what is RSQ. RSQ means revised standard quantity. Okay, so we have to write it as note 1. Okay, so we are going to find what is revised standard quantity. Revised standard quantity means actual quantity revised in the ratio standard. So I will be explaining it with this illustration. What does it actually mean by revised standard quantity? So for that we require this information. Okay, so let's find revised standard quantity. So see here, we have already got this one. We have this information. So now we are going to find revised standard quantity. Let's see. Revised standard quantity means actual quantity revised in the ratio standard. That is what we call as revised standard quantity, right? So let's take ratio of standard first. So material A 80.88 was the quantity used out of 202.2. Before considering the loss, it was this one, into 200 is the total actual quantity. So actual quantity we are going to see it in the ratio of standard. So that is what we call as revised standard quantity. Fine. That is, we are going to divide this 200, divide total quantity in the ratio of standard. So for material A it will be 80.88 divided by 202.2, which is the total standard quantity, into 200. So that we'll get, on the basis of standard we'll get the actual quantity. And also in case of B, 121.32 divided by 202.2 into 200. Let's see what it is. 80.88 divided by 202.2 into 200, right? 200. So we'll get 80. 121.32 divided by 202.2 into 200. We'll get 120. Okay, so this is the revised standard quantity. Now what we have to do? We have to consider this. Revised standard quantity minus actual quantity. So revised standard quantity, let's do the calculation for it here itself. Revised standard quantity we got for material A. Let's see, revised standard quantity of material A is 80 minus actual quantity. Actual quantity is 90. So 90. We have quantities inside, so we have to multiply it with standard rate. So standard rate means what? 200. And for B it will be 120 minus 110, which is the actual quantity, into standard rate, which is 300. Okay, after doing things we have to find the net effect also. So 80 minus 90 will be negative 10. So negative 10 into 200 will get how much? Negative 2000. Adverse. Next, 120 minus 110, it is going to be 10 into 300 will get 3000 favorable, right? So net effect will be 1000 favorable, right? So we have to write 1000 here, 1000 favorable. Okay, so now let's see what is material sum usage variance. So I have already told you that material sum usage variance, answer for this one and the answer for this one will be same. So we are going to do both of them in this question. Only in this question confusions will be erased. Okay, so let's see. Let's do sum usage variance first. So for that we have to get total SQ minus total AQ. Total SQ we have here, total AQ we have here, into average standard rate, because here material A and material B is there. So which rate we have to take, 200 or 300? We are taking total standard quantity, total actual quantity. So I have already told you that if we are going to take, if we are going to have quantities inside the bracket, we have to take standard rate. Fine, but which standard rate? Should we add these two together? No, that is not the answer. We have to take the average, 200. So like that we have to take the average. So what average? Simple average or weighted average? Here like the quantity for material A is different and material B is different, right? In standard and as well as actual case. So we are going to take weighted average. Okay, we are going to take weighted average. So we are going to see what is average standard rate. So 202.2, which is total standard quantity, we are going to subtract actual quantity, total actual quantity, which is 200, from this amount. We'll get a particular amount. So we have got quantities inside the brackets. We have to multiply it with average standard rate. Fine. So now we are going to find what is average standard rate. So average standard rate means we'll be needing this information here. So average standard rate. So for that, let's see in A's case. 200, I have told you we are going to find weighted average standard rate. Weighted average standard rate. So we have to do what? We have to actually multiply these two together first. Now we are going to find for A, what is average standard rate in the case of A. Let's see. Sorry, first we have to find weighted average, right? So 80.88 into 200 we have to do. So we'll get 16176. 16176. And in case of B, we'll get 121,132 into 300. We'll get 36396 together. Let's see, 16176 plus 36396 together we'll get 52572. Here we took 75, right? Here we took 75. So if you want to take 75, that's fine. Since we have already took 575 here, let's take what's 575 here. How did we actually got that amount? 575. I think it's the difference of the round offs. Okay, here 121.33 we have taken. We have taken only 121.32. So can take 575 since I have taken 75 here in the beginning. It's better if I take 75 here also. But it's just the difference of the round off. Okay, I have took the amounts of study mat once I did this one, but here I took my own data, so that's why. Fine, so that's not a problem. So let's take the 75 thing, 52575 itself, or else like if we are not following in if you're not following it in a constant way, the same question that might lead to different answers. Violation happens. The person who is correcting the paper will check she have taken one amount in one place, another in another place, so that might not give us a good impression. So it's better if we take the same amount which we have taken. So 52,575 is what I'm going to take. So 52,575 is the total cost. So we are going to average this. So in order to average, standard rate means what? 52,575 divided by total standard quantity. So 202.2. We can either write it here also. 202.2, that is total standard quantity minus total actual quantity into average standard rate. 52,575 divided by 202.2. Let's see what is the answer is. First do this one. 52,575 divided by 202.2 into 2.2. 2.2, how do we get? 202.2 minus 200 will get 2.2. 572. That is a favorable condition. Okay, it is favorable. Don't forget to write F. Fine. So material sub-usage variance, we got this one. Now let's also find material yield variance. So yield variance is what is being found in our study math. So if you want to do that, you can do it. So in questions, if they are asking both sub-usage and yield variance, there is only need for doing one, and you can write the same answer for the other. But you can also write the equation as well, because calculation does have marks, steps have marks. So write it down. Fine. Now let's do yield variance. So for yield variance, we require standard output from actual input. Okay, so now we are going to find standard output from actual input. What does this actually mean? So the other thing, let me tell you, please keep this on mind. So when I explained about the budgeted, standard and actual, the very first topic when we begin this video, I explained about budgeted production or budgeted quantity, actual quantity and standard quantity, right? So standard and actual production, the output will be same. Since the standard is for actual production is for 182 tons, Actual will be only the same for standard also, because standards are informations for actual production, which could have been like that is which is based on budgeted. Okay, so our 182 tons we have taken. This is for standard. Okay, let's say this 182 tons was the same for actual. Standard informations are for actual productions. So 182 divided by 202 into 200. Okay, so once we do this, we'll get standard output from actual input. We'll get 180. Okay, so for actual input 200, in the standard we've told that we'll be taking 202.2 kgs. We have not considered loss here. Even before considering the loss, we'll be taking 202.2 for 182 tons. But what happens was that we took only 200. So for standard input, I want to know what is the standard output. For actual input, I want to know what is the standard output. So for that we are doing this. Fine. So we'll get how much? 180. Now we got this 180 standard output from actual input. Now minus actual output. Actual output is 200. So let's do it here. 180 minus. So we got standard output from actual input. Now what we have to subtract? Actual output. Actual output means 182. 182 is standard rate per kg of output. Standard rate per kg of output means we know total, that is 52,575 is the total of standard rate, right? Standard rate total cost. Now per kg of output means 182 only. So that is, let me show you here, standard rate per kg of output is equal to 52575 divided by output 182. We'll get how much? 289 or 288 something. 52575 divided by 182 will get 288.87. Okay, so into 288.87, so we'll get how much? 577.7 something rounding. So this difference, that is 572 is our answer of sub usage and 577 is the answer for yield variance. It is because of the rounding differences. Okay, so okay, here 5 or 6 will be the difference here. So usually it used to be the same. Fine. So this is how we do this question. That's all. The only thing you have to understand is, first thing what we did was, we know standard cost minus actual cost is material cost variance, and now we are going to divide them to material usage variance and material price variance. Here we'll be discussing about the responsibility of purchase manager. Here we'll be discussing about the responsibility of production manager, and for production manager have two more other responsibilities here: material sub usage variance and material mix variance. Right? We have to use that sub usage and material mix variance. So in sub usage means we are going to take the total quantity, standard quantity and total actual quantity. Here mix variance means we are going to take revised standard quantity. Okay, and usually in a study math they are finding material yield variance, so you can find yield variance also. So there will be lot of shortcuts so that you could remember this formula, but you have to, in my opinion, you have to actually learn this formula like this only. That is, for material yield variance, we have to know this is a formula. For sub-usage variance, we have to know this is a formula. So we are going behind the short forms. Yeah, it will be easy for you, but concept will be lacking in our concepts. So learn in this way. Try to learn in this way. Okay, I'll be not showing you any shortcuts because there is lots of videos which has been explaining with the help of shortcuts. You can go for that also, but in my opinion you have to actually learn this formulas in this way itself. Okay, that means the concept wise itself. So this is how we do illustration number 2. So I hope all the concepts which I have told you is clear in here. The rest of the illustrations regarding material cost variance analysis will be discussed later. So thank you for watching and work your studies.